You boot up a game for the first time. You get familiar with the mechanics, you connect with the characters, and you start getting invested in the game. As the game goes on, there might be twists, turns, and ever-increasing challenges and rifts the player must go through. You break through it all, and there it is, the ending. Or one of them if you messed up somewhere. The ending is one of the defining characteristics of a game and can be the reason that it leaves a legacy that stands the test of time. There are ways of making an ending not suck, which is a subject on its own, but to make a good ending takes a lot of work, and to make an amazing ending is another thing altogether. Persona 5 Royal is an amazing game. The characters are great, the story is cool, the gameplay is addictive, and the combat is intense and satisfying. There are a few cool arcs within the story and really strong character development. The theme of the game is very relatable. I mean, we all wished that we can change society for the better or something like that. And in this game, you can live out that fantasy. The characters in this game are interesting with their own problems and goals, and we get to know more about them through their confidants. And in the final stretch of the game, we can see that even though they succumbed to the temptation of living a happy dream, you help them snap back to reality and they come back with a stronger resolve. And after more than 140 hours, you beat the game. The story is wrapped up neatly, there are no loose ends, and the ending is just satisfying because you feel like you did it. You saved the world, and as the credits roll, you reflect on what you've been through in the game, and in the end, you feel like your heart has been stolen. Persona 4 Golden is also an amazing game. Though the game is not as polished and as grand as its successor, Persona 4 Golden left an impression that is as good, if not greater, than Persona 5 Royal, and that is in due part to the way the game lent itself to such an amazing ending. The game primarily focuses on you and the bonds forged along the way. While the game might not feel as grandiose and pulse-pounding as its successor, it takes a more introspective approach to its themes and characters, which makes the social links feel that much more meaningful and intimate. And that is why, after 70 plus hours, when you finally finish the game, the train rolls in, and when it departs, they run after you and say their goodbyes, and warm tears of happiness roll down your eyes. After that, it cuts to a flash forward, and you really don't know what to expect. You walk through town, trying to find your friends, and you can tell that the town has changed. It's a much more hopeful place compared to the dreary town that you arrived at a year ago, and you know that you are a part of that change. And when you finally reunite with your friends, you see how they change in small and meaningful ways. And when you finally gather around the dinner table, you have a good look at your friends, and you see the progress that they have made, the progress that you were a part of. And finally, you realize that it was all worth it. And when the credits roll, showing the train roll on, while memories of your friends flash before your eyes. And to cap it off, it ends with a picture of you and your friends. One moment that beautifully captures all you have worked for. I still love P5R's ending and story, and I believe it stands higher than most games out there. So why does P4G's ending stand out much more than P5R's? It's because of the way P4G structured itself around the introspective theme, which I feel suited the gameplay a lot better than P5R. And also, P4G provides more closure to the story, and it helps better reflect the progress of you as the player when it comes to how you were a part of the change in the people that matter to you in the flash forward epilogue. Maybe if P5R had something like that, it might have been an equally good ending, or bashed for copying its predecessor. So, maybe the definitive way of making an amazing ending is to give the story as much closure as possible, and to make it as satisfying as it can be. Right?
Boy, oh boy. The price of freedom is steep.
Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core is one of my favorite games of all time. The main thing I like about the game is the main character, Zack Fair. He is such a lively and charismatic character who grows and matures as the story progresses. You see how the game's themes of honor and dreams eventually become a part of Zack. So, spoilers, Zack dies in the end. How is that a good ending? Well, it's the reason he died. So over the game, the themes of dreams and honor are repeatedly mentioned, but we don't exactly get the full meaning of it. As the game progresses, we see him grow, suffer, and fight for a misguided cause, and as things get worse, he loses sight of what he's fighting for. And when Cloud reminds him of what he should truly fight for, we see Zack find the flame he has lost long ago. And later on, after Zack and Cloud defeat the almighty Sephiroth, Zack is put in a situation where Cloud is helpless and Zack needs to escape to Midgar. And at the very end of the game, he is facing an unrelenting force that he knows he will not prevail against. The same people he fought for. He knows that he could just abandon Cloud and go to Midgar himself, but doing so will go against everything he stands for. In the end, he sticks to his conviction and fights, knowing that death is inevitable. No matter how sad I was, I feel like this was an amazing way of showing Zack's honor, and showing how much honor, despite being a huge burden, is what truly defines a hero. So in the end, maybe it's not how fulfilling the ending is for the player, it is more of how the ending resonates with players. Like, you can argue that Persona 5 Royal's ending is better than Persona 4 Golden's, or that Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core had a cliché ending. But at the end of the day, each player experiences the ending differently, and whether it is good or amazing is up to how you think and how you feel.